Hello, my name is Gemma and I'm going to tell you the story of Romeo and Juliet. In the ancient Italy city of Verona, Lord Capulet was planning a party. He was sure no members of the Montague family would turn up, as the Capulets and Montagues had been feuding for years. The quarrel ran so deep that even their servant fought. But Lord Capulet was wrong. Romeo, Lord Montague's son, and Mercutio, his friends, did come in disguise. He was infatuated with Lord Capulet's niece, Rosaline. Romeo, however, instantly forgot Rosaline when he saw Lord Capulet's sweet young daughter, Juliet. Her beauty stole his heart. Unfortunately, Romeo was recognized by Lord Capulet's fiery nephew, Tybalt. But Lord Capulet forbade fighting at his ball and made Romeo welcome. So Romeo wooed Juliet, and soon their love was mutual despite the feud. As the party ended, Juliet ran to her balcony to declare her love for Romeo to the stars. Romeo risked death by climbing the Capulets' orchard wall to see Juliet. That night, the loving pair agreed to wed in secret, lest their feuding families part them. As dawn broke and Juliet's nurse finally got her to bed, Romeo raced to Friar Lawrence. The friar agreed to marry the sweethearts, hoping this would unite the families. Later that morning, Juliet joined Romeo at the chapel, and the happy pair were wed. On the way home, Romeo met his good friends Benvolio and Mercutio, being harangued by Tybalt for consorting with a Montague. Then Romeo and Juliet parted, as they knew they must, until Friar Lawrence had broken the news to their families. Tybalt and Mercutio's sword clashed, and Mercutius fell dead. Romeo, now related to Tybalt by his marriage, tried to prevent the fight, but failed. The Prince of Verona was tired of the feuding families disturbing the peace. So when he heard of the death, he banished Romeo. Provoked by his friend's death, Romeo struck Tybalt a fatal blow. Not until morning did the lovers part, hoping that soon Friar Lawrence could secure a pardon for Romeo and pacify their families. Unhappy Juliet, her cousin killed by Romeo, and Romeo exiled. What could Romeo do but go and beg her forgiveness and say farewell? Horrified, Juliet rejected the plan, but dared not reveal her marriage to Romeo. But Lord Capulet, thinking to comfort Juliet after Tybalt's death, told her faithful suitor, Paris, that they could marry on Thursday. Accordingly, Juliet went home and to her father's joy agreed to marry Paris. Juliet ran to Friar Lawrence for help, and in desperation they agreed a devious plot. Before the wedding, Juliet took a drug so as to appear dead for 42 hours. When Juliet's nurse tried to wake her, she seemed quite lifeless. Juliet was carried to the family burial vault from where, according to the friar's plan, Romeo would rescue her. So, amid deep mourning, the wedding party became a funeral procession. Romeo bought poison and went to the tomb. There he found Paris, who, in his misery, attacked Romeo, who slew him in defense. But the friar's letter telling Romeo of the scheme went astray. A messenger told Romeo the false news of Juliet's sudden death. Then Romeo gave Juliet a kiss and drank the poison. Just too late, Friar Lawrence arrived, now aware that his letter had not reached Romeo. As the friar cried out in horror, Juliet awoke to see Romeo lifeless beside her. Hearing voices approach, the friar fled, but Juliet, unable to imagine life without Romeo, took up his dagger and, stabbing herself, fell dead upon her husband's body. When the families of Montague and Capulet arrived upon this tragic scene, they were grief-stricken at the consequences of their vendetta. Lord Capulet and Lord Montague vowed to raise a golden statue to each other's child. Thus they buried their feud along with their precious children, Romeo and his sweet Juliet.